Well, her tender performances, her sometimes somber and honest on-screen characters might fool you, but she is tough and in many ways a glowing portrait of an outsider, a non-industry person who not only cracked the business but won over cinefans across the country. My guest today is Taapsee Pannu. Well, I thought hard about the session's title, Taapsee, and finally I decided to call it True Grit in your honor.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sushant. It feels nice. Sounds nice.
So thank you for joining me. Well, describe your childhood. Describe yourself as a teenager, lessons learned while growing up.
I think I was quite an unpredictable kind of a person back then also. I was just one striking balance kind of a person who used to have these barter deals with my family as to, you let me do this, you let me stay out and play till like 9 p.m. in the night, and I'll get you the A grades that you want in my report card. So it used to be like that clear a deal so that my parents don't end up getting upset about the fact I like to be the outdoor person that I've always been. And then they get the grade. So they never had the opportunity to scold me. And then I've been the person who asks a lot of questions, can get a little annoying a lot of times. My dad one day used to get really frustrated and he was like, "Tu lawyer ban ja, because you ask a lot of questions." And I was like, yeah, maybe. Who knew that I'll end up exploring that profession as well in my career. But yeah, that was a filmy career rather. But yeah, so I've been a person who's been very inquisitive. I've always asked questions, and that's how I've built my opinions of how I feel about certain thing, what I feel is right or wrong, about everything around in life. So, and thankfully, my parents let me have that opinion and didn't force theirs on me. And never kind of a attitude that I developed over time. Never fixed myself, okay, I cannot do this, so I will not touch this. I will try it, and if I don't succeed, then I'll try something else, and
Right.
life moves on. So I've been that jack of all trades, master of none kind of a person because I just wanted to explore everything in my life because I thought life is too short and I don't want to waste it by confining myself to only one particular thing. So I kept trying a lot of things.
You know, since this is our inspiration series, I'm going to throw 5 different sets of a couple of words at you and you have to respond, okay? So first, dreams and focus. Dreams and focus.
Keeps changing. I'll describe it like that because for me, dreams and my focus kept changing.
Okay? But what were your dreams growing up?
Every year used to be a different one. Growing up, I was like, one year I would want to become an astronaut, one year I would want to become a scientist, one year I would want to become a doctor, teacher, engineer. But I remember one instance that, in the school bus, all the kids were discussing in probably ninth, 10th standard or something. And everyone was like, okay, what do you want to do? You have to choose a subject and what do you want to become eventually and all. And I remember one person when he asked me, okay, what do you think you become? So I was so unsure at that point that I'll become eventually that I just blurted out a dialogue saying, "पता नहीं क्या बनूंगी, but जो भी करूंगी लोग याद रखेंगे." So I don't know why did I say that? I remember so clearly because everyone just looked at me and was like, such a wannabe kind of an answer to give that those all kids just laughed at me at that point, and I also don't know where it came from, but it's nice to see that yeah, today there will probably a lot of people who will remember me once I'm not there.
Well, who's laughing now? Well, next set of words, work ethic and discipline.
Work ethic?
And discipline.
Of prime importance because I hate to take things for granted. I always felt that there are not many people who are lucky enough to work or to do something as work which they genuinely love and they don't have to force themselves out of bed and go to work. So I am forever grateful to be having a job that I don't have to crib about. I don't have Monday blues. So that's of my prime importance. I'll choose a work I don't need a holiday from. So that way is my work ethics are of prime importance. I think that's what has really helped me also, as an outsider, because I guess the work ethics also give you an edge in a lot of places because there are a lot of talented people. Some people probably are luckier than the other, but some people end up scoring over ethics. So I had learned this from him because I remember him telling me that when his 12, 13 films were flopped back to back, and probably people thought that that's it, he's going to be out of the industry. There were producers who had such a good experience of working with him professionally that his work ethic ended up being the primary reason for them to come back to him, that they knew that this guy will make their life easy in terms of just finishing the film in time and coming on set on time and doing his job professionally. So for that sake, he still kept getting films in spite of having those streak of flops one
Yeah.
after the other. So he always says, that work ethic is going to take you a really long way.
Yeah.
And I totally agree to that.
Next set of words is education and religion. Are you a religious person?
Not a very strong, staunch religious person. I'm a spiritual person. I do believe in the superpower. But education is something that I really wish, if I had one power in my hand ever, I would want each and every human being on this planet to be educated. That's how strongly I feel about education.
Okay, motivation and money. How driven are you in, money wise?
Money can be a motivation. I agree to that. That can be the motivation. Rather, it's okay for money to be one of the motivation, but it should not be the only motivation, I guess, because it will end up making you do a lot of things that you might regret later on.
Friends and teamwork. How important is it to surround yourself with the right people?
110%. 110%. I'm okay with not being the most talked about person in the social circle of my industry. I would rather spend that time with the people I connect with really well and I feel nice being around, who are positive people. I actually make a conscious effort whenever I find someone's vibe to be genuinely positive, regardless of whichever background that person is from. I make sure I get that person closer to my life. And the people who I don't feel a good vibe from, no matter even that might just benefit me to be friends with that person, I would still not want that person to be around me, because it's monetary and work benefit is only one part of life. My sanity and my happiness is what I'm eventually working for.
Yeah.
And if that person with some some negative energy is going to be around, I don't think I'll be a happy person.
Tapsi, can you share some habits or behavioral patterns that you thought were detrimental and you worked on?
Always keeping a track on everyone else's happenings in my film industry. Like I remember when in the beginning of my career, I was so well versed with what my contemporaries were doing, and I'm talking about the time when I started in South.
Yeah.
I learned a lot of lessons when I started in South. I was so busy in just feeling good or bad about my contemporaries' work.
Yeah.
That was just so wrong. I stopped enjoying my own success the way I should have. And I stopped learning from my mistakes the way I should have. I just kept on comparing my graph all the time with my contemporaries, and that became my only benchmark of certain sorts, which was something that took me a little while, but I made sure I'm throwing it out of my life. I did end up throwing it out of my life eventually, that my benchmark is not going to be how good or bad my contemporaries are doing, because their success or failure is not going to decide if I am a successful person or no. Only what I do will decide if I am successful or no. So
Right.
that was one bad habit which I got rid of.
Right. And did you have one or several rock bottom moments, as they say? And how did you gather yourself and bounce back?
I had one really horrible one, and that made sure the way I surfaced from it, I made sure I don't have to hit that bottom again. It was a time soon after my beginning. My debuts in South were really well received. My first films were huge hits, and for a person who did not intend to come into this industry and have a career of this sort, it was like I got things literally on a platter to begin with. So I didn't do my share, but my share of struggle before my first film is why I did not realize how much it really takes to make a mark here. So after my first film, when I ended up having a streak of flops, like
Yeah.
I had like 3, 4 flops back to back in South, and I started getting tagged as the bad luck charm and
Hmm.
someone who shouldn't be taken in movies because she's just jinxing it, or she's going to be a jinx for the film. And I did not understand why, because I was doing those very bare minimal typical heroine roles of doing 3 songs and 5 scenes and not being that important in the script actually. And I was just doing that because I was told that's how you become a big heroine,
Yeah.
doing big films, regardless of however small role is. And because of back to back 4 or 5 of them didn't work, I started being tagged as a bad luck charm, and people stopped meeting me. Even if the director wanted me for the fact that he thought that I can do the part, the producer ended up telling him not to take me because there's some amount of superstitious bad luck that I'll bring to
You
the
were
film.
unlucky.
Yeah, I was unlucky according to them. Yeah, they used to call me Iron Leg, which is like the bad luck charm. So that was very disheartening. There were headlines written of news articles and all about the industry where I was being termed as Iron Leg, and that kept happening for over a year and a half or so. And the person who's left Delhi, settled in South, and working there in a new industry, in a new environment, new kind of work which I've never done before, it
Hmm.
was a big blow.
Hmm.
I did not know, have I chosen the wrong field, or is it just a bad time, or it's going to get, when will it get over? How will it get over? Don't want to guide me. I had no godfather kind of friends there who are going to help me out of the situation.
Hmm.
So that time I felt really low. And I was like, okay, fine. I know one thing is for sure. This is not the be all and end all of my life. This was never a dream that I nurtured for years in terms of, becoming an actor. So this is just by chance, by surprise, and by sheer luck has fallen in my lap. So it's okay if I'm not able to do something here. I'll do something else. But let's not just make it like be all and end all of my life and think I'm good for nothing.
Right.
So that's when I got my sister, when I was talking to my family. And I never shared anything with my family because I was scared for them that they might think that their girl is all alone there in a new
Hmm.
city, in a new place with new people. They might just get so scared they would want me to come back.
Hmm.
And I was like, I'm not going to come back. I'm going to try again or try something else. I'm not going to quit.
Hmm.
So that's when I was talking to my sister, and I asked her if she would want to come and stay with me. She had finished her graduation back then, and I asked her if she would want to move to Hyderabad with me and get a job here and work in the company she would want to. And she said, okay, fine. She came down to Hyderabad,
Hmm.
stayed with me for a year and a half, and things started changing slowly because I decided now I will not do films to become the number one actress. I will not do films to become the A-lister or become the most talked about heroine there. I will do the films that I know I will enjoy working on. I will not force myself to go on set every day. My motivation should be right, the
Hmm.
kind of motivation that actually gives me happiness. So
Right.
I started getting happiness at work, and then I used to come back home, have my sister back home with me, which used to give me happiness and keeps me grounded even till date. So now I have both of us together are in Mumbai, and the same scenario continues. My living criteria is since then till now is the same.
Nice. So, after your experience in the South, how did Hindi films happen? Chashme Badur, and then you go on from there. I'll talk about some of your milestone films, but how did Hindi films happen for you? Did you have to work a
That
lot
also
before getting your
was.
break?
No, I actually, as I told you, I did not really plan this. Like how I did not plan acting at first place, my Hindi film debut was not really planned.
Hmm.
So one fine day, I was 10 films old and already quite busy in South is when I got a call saying, Viacom is looking for a girl for their next film, which is going to be Chashme Badur,
Hmm.
and David Dhawan is directing it, and someone has recommended your name because they feel they have seen your South work and they feel your vibe fits the bill.
Hmm.
So and they said, they wanted someone who has a Preeti Zinta kind of a
Huh.
vibe.
Huh.
And apparently someone, Puri Jagannath, the director,
Yeah.
he felt that, and Puri sir didn't work with me before that. He just had very formally met me a couple of times in Hyderabad. And he said, he recommended my name saying that her vibe matches Preeti's vibe. So please meet her. I went to Mumbai met the producer, met the director. That's it. That's how it happened. It was that simple as my South debuts. My struggle has always started after my first film, because then the struggle was to, keep climbing
Better
up.
yourself. Yeah. To
Yeah,
improve
keep
yourself.
better my, because I'm very aware of the fact that I'm not a trained actor.
Yeah.
I'm not someone who's acted ever in my life before I entered film. So I know I need to keep working on my craft with every film.
Now, just talk about some of your milestone films. You do a Pink, Man Marziya, Mulk, Thappad, even did a Judwa, that quintessential blockbuster type of film. Talk to me about some of the highlights and some of your best favorite memories.
I think come Chashme Badur or Baby or Pink, I think if I was, I might not sound very modest, but the fact, if I was someone seeing my filmography from the outside, I would want that kind of filmography, because it's something that stays for posterity and not just to reach a certain mark and just then, relax at that position.
Yeah.
These are the kind of films I wouldn't mind showing it to my kids, my grandkids, and I would want them to see that this was the kind of work I was doing when I was in the film industry. So, those films you will be proud of forever. Be it the fact that, it was the first time ever wherein mainstream cinema, a girl wearing a salwar kameez ended up by herself beating a terrorist down uh, when Akshay Kumar is not coming to save her. That 7-minute role that got me a full-fledged film called Naam
Naam
Shabana, which
Shabana.
probably had not really happened before. Uh, I mean, imagine 7 minutes role ended up giving me a
Yeah.
film of
Yeah.
my first ever title role.
Yes, yes.
That was something that was unheard of. Then Pink, where in first time in mainstream cinema, people actually spoke about virginity and sex without beeping words, and discuss it head on, and consent was discussed there head on in mainstream cinema. That, and then, talking about then Mulk, where people never thought that film might even see the light of day, or should,
Yeah.
like, people will even like let it happen. And then moving on to Manmarzia, where it was never seen okay for your heroine to have a feeling called lust
Yeah.
and be okay with it.
Yeah.
That was like, only a man is entitled to have that feeling. If a woman has that feeling, she's the wrong woman. She's
Yeah.
not the heroine. She's
Yeah.
not the protagonist. Then go on. It was a snowball effect after that. Be it, even Badla, where I played an antagonist,
Yes.
everything was a snowball effect from Pink onwards, because then people realize that, okay, if there's something which is like a gray zone in terms of people might not be sure if it's a right decision to pick this role or no, she'll jump into it. And I mean, I love doing things which I know I haven't explored, because then I get excited about what I'm going to do today. If I know what I'm going to do today, then it becomes too boring after some time.
Right.
So that, I think, kept the excitement high for me and then my audience also.
As you said, you're an outsider coming into the industry. Did your parents did they ever have any inhibitions about a girl going to the industry? We hear all kind of things and kissing scenes or intimate scenes that you had to do.
Not for those in particular, honestly, because by the time I did kissing scenes or intimate scenes in my career,
You're
my
already a star.
parents
Yeah.
or my family had kind of realized what this is going to be like. So, like that. In South, when I started off, there weren't any kissing scene or, these two intimate scenes
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
happening there. So they were, but yeah, they had apprehensions about, a girl going alone in the film industry, and the industry, which is, like it or no, most of the times only the negative sides of things are highlighted about the personal lives of the actors. It's a very rosy and glorious life professionally from the outside, but whenever personal lives of actors is discussed, it's always something or the other shady about it. And
Yeah.
obviously my parents, who forget about knowing anything of the film industry, they are not even people who are watching a lot of films. So for them, it was very scary thought that, okay, I don't know how she's going to do it, but they knew that I'm stubborn enough to give it a shot. Like, I will not just sit back and because it's scary, you don't know what's in there. That's why I'm just going to be here and not try it. I'll try it. I don't have a problem in failing. but I have a problem in not trying. So yeah, so that's, I think they thought it's futile effort to tell
So
her
once,
to not to do
because
something.
you started off really young, did anyone try to take advantage of you?
I was very lucky. I'll tell you why. In South, what happened was when I started my career, I signed up big films. Like the first Telugu film was with Raghavendra Rao sir, who launched Sridevi Ma'am and Jayasudha, and really big heroines. And it was his 105th film, one of the most celebrated directors in Telugu. And the one in Tamil with Vetrimaran and Dhanush, that film was so big that everybody knew it's going to do wonders, and it ended up collecting like some 5 6 national awards. So they were like big debuts in terms of, I did my Google research well, let's just say that. So because of that, I think people didn't really find an opportunity to try and push themselves on me, because when you start off that big, then people, I guess, become a little cautious, that they might not be able to trick or play me, because she's got a good deal already in her career. So they might not be able, they probably get scared that they won't be able to find that weak moment out of me. So I got lucky that way, that people didn't get the courage to try on me
Right.
in the beginning of my career like that.
Now let's talk about getting a reality check for all those aspiring actors who want to make it big in Indian cinema. Firstly, heroes are treated differently than heroines, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Can you elaborate on that, like with your personal experience?
It also depends upon what stage of career you are in. If you are an upcoming actor, or you're already an established actor, like during the days when I was an upcoming actor and probably the actor opposite me was a big star, then obviously the size of the vanity van is different. The number of people you're allowed to have in your staff is different. The call times are different. Um, I used to be called on the spot for shot only after sir has, no, first I will be called on spot and made to stand, and then
Okay.
sir will be called to walk out of the vanity van. So, yeah, all those things have happened, and they initially, I I used to always probably take it thinking, this is seniority, and they are probably more experienced than me, and that's why they are doing it. Slowly I was like, okay, it's weird. And then it's not just one or two, it's like the entire set uh, feels that it's a different, slightly different treatment towards the heroine versus the hero, because a heroine is always given half an hour or 1 hour a call time before the
Yeah.
hero, because it's just believed that the girl is going to take longer time to get ready.
Yeah.
So she has to be called before. So all those things, and in the edit or in the post production work, I had an experience once where the hero wanted to change a dub of mine. I was dubbing for the first time, and he wanted my dialogue to be changed, whereas it was just my close up, and he did not like that a particular word or line was used for him on my close up, and he
Wow.
wanted to change it. And I was like, no, I will not change it. It's my close up. It's my first ever dubbing. I'm not going to change it.
Right.
And they told me, okay, we'll keep it mute. And I was like, okay, fine. But when I saw the final cut, I saw that they had gotten a dubbing artist to dub for that one particular line the way the hero wanted it.
Amazing.
And the remaining, yeah, so that does happen. And but then lastly, last few years of mine have been such where my directors come and see, you are the hero of the film, you are the hero of the film.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I end up not really feeling that difference. So yeah, it's been fine lately, but I've seen those days as well.
Incredible. Well, overall, the biggest challenges, as you said, being an outsider, biggest challenges that you faced in the film industry.
Biggest challenge, honestly, if you ask me, is just to prove that you are bankable. Because either you are okay just being an actor, or you want to become a star. And I am no qualms about admitting that I would want to become a star who can act, because yeah, I mean, I would want people to put their money on me and believe that they're going to get the returns. I
Yeah.
want my audience to walk into the theater seeing my face on the poster, believing that if she's there, it's worth their time and money. So I want that, and that a star will get, probably an actor won't. Just an actor won't. So I would want to be that star, and just to make yourself feel bankable. I mean,
Right.
if you make the industry feel that you are bankable, make the audience feel you are bankable, is the biggest struggle for someone who wants to become a star.
Now, you spoke about this a little, and it's heartbreaking what's happened with the Sushant Singh Rajput suicide. The entire outsider versus insider debate is back. And you told me once that nobody really supported you when your films released, in terms of tweeting for you. That's why you were surprised when Sonam tweeted for you. But now I see this organic churn that's happening. A lot of negativity also there, but there's this organic churn where the fans are calling out, and even people from within the industry are calling out this privileged club, who decide how long and far you can go, and they sort of dominate everything. What is your take on this?
Sushant, when this happened, I wrote something which I don't know how many people will understand. I wrote a simple line saying, "Be the change you want to see." By going out there abusing anyone, insider or outsider or from wherever, that's not how it's going to change. These are the same people who are using this or just spewing hate there, are the ones who probably ended up going and buying the Friday, Saturday, Sunday tickets for these so-called star kids, and making sure that they get humongous opening,
Yeah.
versus people like me who will have to end up settling for a good word of mouth, and then end up getting those numbers. More years, just because I'm nobody's daughter, I will not get the kind of openings anyone else would. And who are these people who are buying tickets? The ones who are right now abusing on Twitter, right? So they are the same people. If you really want the change, please do something about it. And going on social media and writing hate tweets and hate messages to people is not going to make the difference. The
Yes.
media also, who is like polarized right now, some of them are writing pro outsiders articles, some are writing neutral articles. I want to ask that same media, do you really cover us outsiders in the same light with so much of veracity as you cover the people who are star kids?
Yes.
You give us the same kind of value and space?
Yes.
No, you don't. So let's just not stop pointing fingers everywhere. Somewhere we all are responsible in making this equilibrium go slightly haywire, and let's just do our bit to make sure we're going to equate it. Next time an outsider's film releases, go and watch it the way you watch a Star Kids film, and then you are probably entitled to stand there and say that this is wrong and this one is wrong or that one is wrong.
Taapsee, you've actually hit the nail on the head, and I agree with everything that you say. But isn't it true that these sort of elite clubs with their PR machinery, hand in glove with the media, they make these star kids a much bigger brand than a Taapsee Pannu? Again and again, you see these sort of elite clubs, like you were talking about, that I might not get invited to the same sort of social circles, but that's what everybody is also calling out, and that is the churn that I'm talking about. Don't you agree with that?
But honestly, yeah, I agree. I won't be called to the same social circles, but who is making those social circles the benchmark of my success?
Exactly.
I am not making that. Who is making that?
Yeah.
I don't think going on a particular show makes me more successful than the other, right? Going or starring in a particular studio's film is the only way I'll be proven the most successful actress. I don't think so. The only thing that proves success in this industry is the box office figures. And box office figures, honestly, are only in the hands of public. There's nobody who can, undo a box office success for anyone. So I don't honestly believe that.
But the brand question, that Star Kids are being made into a bigger brand than a Taapsee Pannu because these elite clubs.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I am not. I'll give you example of the fact that I am not being featured on one of the few of the biggest magazines till date. They don't want to feature me on the cover. It's easier to feature a star kid. It's all hand in glove kind of a system that whoever is in power has used their power position to their benefit. Okay, so it's not just one or two people who are there involved in it. It's a huge mechanism which involves the power play of the people in question, of the media,
Yes.
and of the public who is going and buying it also. If
Yes.
you discard it and if you don't buy it, there will be no production of such things. So I guess it's everyone together. We are responsible in some or the other way. So let's begin the change from our own selves first. And then, probably we'll have the authority to question others.
Before we move on, I remember Sushant as somebody who I could talk to about quantum physics, to philosophy, to astrology, to fitness. That guy was something else. A 34-year-old star actor. I mean, it's so heartbreaking. How do you remember Sushant? Did you have any conversations with him, and what is your take on what happened?
Unfortunately, I never even bumped into him, honestly, which is very strange because you at least bump into each other. And I guess both of us are not that familiar with social circles around. We might have common friends, but I don't think either of us are that socially active in the social circle around. That's why we probably didn't end up meeting each other. But strangely, we didn't even bump into each other at any of these events. All these award shows or events that happen. Didn't even bump into him there. So unfortunately, didn't have the opportunity to meet him ever. But regardless of that, people who've not even met him or seen him in person, it has hit all of our gut equally bad, equally hard. And I remember since the time it has happened, every day I'm getting calls or messages from people I know, and who are like, "Are you okay? Are you happy? Do you need to talk?" And suddenly such kind of messages, such kind of calls. My neighbors are suddenly more concerned because I don't live with my family. Like, I don't live with my mom and dad. I have my sister with me, and that's what I tell everyone. They're like, no, no, yeah, but you don't have your parents there, and you're not from here. So are you okay? Do you need anything? We are there if you need anything. Please don't feel that you're alone. So I've the number of messages and calls of such sort have gone up drastically since the time that incident has happened, and which is really, it just keeps making me remind the fact that how life can just, like, the perception towards things can just change upside down
Yeah.
with one incident. And uh, I mean, I don't have any explanation. Why would he want to do this to himself? Must have been his own share of reasons, I'm sure. I didn't know him as a person at all. So for me, Sushant Singh Rajput, you at least had the chance to interview him. I didn't even have that. So I have only seen of what I've seen. Last film of his I've seen is Chichore, and that's all I know him as the actor. I
Right.
don't have any memories of him as a person.
Right. Tapsi, I have to ask you, what has inspired you in your life?
Uh, what has inspired me in my life? I have realized one thing. That was a very simple saying. Where there's a will, there is a way. When you really want to do something and you genuinely believe that something is going to make you happy, I think you'll find a way to do it. And that's how I've been living. I've realized that I don't care about how which number you put me on, number one, two, three actress or whatever. All that matters to me is, am I waking up with a smile on my face? Am I sleeping with a smile on my face? Am I looking forward to spending the next day with the people I'm going to meet? That happiness has inspired, just that high you get when you're happy has inspired me to just make sure I'm living on my own terms in a very happy life. So that inspiration, if you ask me, is just happiness. That one key word of living a life, a happy life, is what is driving me every day.
Beyond your success in cinema, what really catches my attention is how you don't hold back while sharing your opinions. So, how important, especially in today's climate, even if it's something about anti government or whatever you feel, how important is it to voice your opinion vociferously?
If you really strongly feel something about it, and you feel you have the adequate knowledge to put out something that you feel, I think it's okay to put it out because I think it feels nice to live with a spine. It is a nice feeling to live with a spine. Without that, I think not just your body, but your mind will collapse very soon. So I'm not a very, I'm not a person who's very strong with political knowledge, but I am socially aware of what is happening around. And selective, people say, no, you're selective causes or selective criticism. It's likewise, everybody goes through that because for someone, something else is priority, for someone something else is a priority, and nobody is right or wrong in that. It's just your priorities might be different from someone else's. But it's important, when you strongly feel about something, just have the spine to convey. If you're not conveying for fear of something, then it's, I just feel sad for you. If you're not conveying because you don't know enough, then it's okay. Then it's fine not to say.
Well, finally, your favorite actors, filmmakers, somebody who you want to work with in the future?
I've never really made a list of actors who I would want to work with because I feel I would want to work with all of them. But filmmakers, I've since the time I've realized what cinema is and what filmmaking is and what this art is like, I always wanted to work with Mani Ratnam. And I
Oh,
still
wow.
say sent him a text also, and he's been very kind enough to reply and say, please come and meet me when you're in Chennai next. And I would love to do that. That's one filmmaker I really would want to be a Mani Ratnam heroine one day.
Amazing. Okay, to end this, finally, I'm going to ask you, since we touched about the outsider versus insider debate. As an outsider, do you feel vulnerable, and do you feel your journey has been much harder than some of the others who are not who are
It
from
is.
film families?
Of course it is. But I'll be lying if I say that I didn't know about it when I entered the film industry. I knew about it. It's going to be longer. It's going to be harder. But you know what's the beauty of it? It's going to be mine. And nobody can take away the credit of it from me saying because of this person, because of that person. I like to see the glass half full than half empty. Yes, it's going to be harder. Yes, it's going to be longer. But the returns that you get are much more sweeter because they are only yours. There's no one to take the credit of it. So I think I can make peace with that.
I think that's a wonderful message for all those actors, young actors who want to join the industry and might be disheartened due to all this news, negativity surrounding Sushant Singh Rajput's suicide. But Taapsee, listen, it's always a pleasure talking to you. More power to you. Looking forward to all of the
Thank
films
you,
that you're
Sushant.
doing, and truly inspirational in the true meaning of the word. Thank you, Taapsee Pannu, for joining us.
Thank you, Sushant.